ago.
Oh my God.
And I'm ready to go again. Yeah.
Jeez.
He's going to fight.
How do you think he'd fare against a 28-year-old?
I don't know. It depends on the 28-year-old. But I think that you for sure need a guy who's really good at fighting to keep him off you.
Yeah.
Even if you're in your 20s.
Right.
Here, Mike Tyson explains his desire to fight again. I feel unstoppable now. The gods of war have reawakened me. And he said something about his ego firing up. See if you can find that quote. Because that was one of the things that he actually talked about in the podcast. The gods of war have awakened me. They've reignited my ego and want me to go to war again. Holy shit, that's so terrifying. That's so terrifying. Here's
great.
the thing, man. If they don't drug test him, if they don't test him for hormones, things are way different.
What do you mean?
Because if he takes hormones, if he's taking testosterone, growth hormone, thyroid hormone, all the things that people do when they take hormone replacement therapy, your body functions way better at a way later age. It's different.
Right.
It's very different. So if we're talking about like being a 53-year-old man in 1985, there's no chance.
Right.
Everybody fell apart. Like you'd have to like be a really, really, really rare person who doesn't take hormones and can perform like a 30-year-old when you're in your 50s. But when you're on hormones, you can kind of do it. There's a few guys that were in the UFC. One of the bigger examples is Vitor Belfort. Vitor Belfort, who's a phenomenal fighter, a real legend. He won the first tournament that I ever worked on. That was at UFC 12 in 1990.
Those were the words of Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's response. His reaction to Mike Tyson getting back into the ring. And I'll let you guys listen to that segment because Joe Rogan is 52, okay? And if you grew up watching Mike, I grew up watching Mike, okay? I'm not in that age bracket, but I grew up watching Mike Tyson because Mike Tyson was so young at the time. Mike Tyson was a kid when he was the heavyweight champion. He was the youngest heavyweight champion. Okay, so when he was 21, I was like 8 or 9, maybe, something like that. So I grew up watching this guy, but it's different from someone in the same age bracket like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is in that same age bracket, so it's such an influence, knowing what you can still do at a certain age. But he brought something up very, very important. Okay. How things were back then versus how things are now. If they, like he said, if they don't drug test them, and I've been saying this, guys, if you guys have followed me during this Mike Tyson videos, right? Mike Tyson, first of all, smokes weed on the reg. He has his own weed farm. He has a weed plant, right? Like a factory, not a plant, but a whole weed factory, a factory full of plants. And he smokes on the reg, kush, whatever, loud, whatever you call it these days. He has that. And it'll have to be one of those things where, first of all, when you do get older, and I'm not even sure that Mike is on like testosterone replacement. He may not be, but because he definitely fits that description of the people that should be on it. And the doctors can prescribe it. So it's like almost like that that drug exempt situation. It could be a situation like that, but again, let's put it this way. If Mike Tyson isn't on anything right now, if he's not taking anything but hemp, right? That's phenomenal. I mean, incredible. Because that means that he's old school. He's like Customado's last prodigy. So he probably didn't even pick up on that stuff. But to be fair, Mike Tyson had a lot of illegal substances when he did fight. And when I mean illegal, I don't mean necessarily performance-enhancing drugs. I mean banned substances. You don't supposed to have them in your body boxing. That's the point. But there is a difference. Banned substances can affect your body. You know what I mean? And so, as it brings more pain to you than the other person. So, but no, I mean, it's a lot of things that older people are doing. So if he did get drug tested, I mean, it would have to be something that, hey, dude, I'm 53. I take testosterone replacement. You know what I mean? What do you want from me? I take it because I need testosterone because my body's lacking in that. And then, it would be different if he's taking more than the prescribed dose. So that's going to be a huge question mark, if it even is. But if he's taking something like that, could he be cleared taking something that is illegal in boxing? You can't take extra testosterone. You can't drink Powerade or Gatorade during a fight because it gives you extra electrolytes. So there's a lot of tedious things that are on the banned substance list. So that's going to be a whole nother question, if he admits to it, like, yeah, I did this, or like Luis Ortiz, he failed his last drug test, right? The one where he's supposed to fight Wilder because of high blood pressure medication. Again, it was a banned substance in that. Okay? So, or maybe it was a performance enhancing drug. I'm not sure. But it came from high hypertension medication. So, we know that. But that's an exception. Why? Because it was doctor prescribed. So, that's a question that I want to know. So it's like one of those things that we just have to figure out. When we get to that bridge, we have to cross it, right? Or we cross that bridge when we get to it. Dyslexia. Sorry. But anyway, it's great to see people's responses for Mike Tyson. Because Mike Tyson, for one, is a guy that everybody just fell in love with. Fell out of love with some people, hated by some people. Some people always loved him, like myself. Then people fell in love with him after the Lewis fight. So Lennox Lewis beat Tyson, right? Mind you, out of Tyson's prime. Tyson was way out of his prime in 2002. But, and knowing what we know now, the coke, the drugs and stuff like that, the lifestyle, I mean, he wasn't, at his best, okay? Now, he had more rage than anything, but then after that, it was like Lewis beat him, but then Tyson got the credit of how he took the loss. So people fell back in love with Mike Tyson. Then he retires, then he starts doing stuff like The Hangover and stuff like that, and then, then he's like, hey, Mike Tyson, yeah, the ex-champ, but now he's like the known celebrity, right? Oh, it's Mike Tyson. Everybody wants to take a picture with Mike now. You couldn't pull that shit in the 90s. You get your head knocked off or you get chased after. Mike didn't play that, right? But Mike coming back, it's definitely creating a lot of buzz. I just seen his Instagram, and I think that was 2-3 days old. The extra content. It's like 8 million views. You know what I mean? It's like 3 days, 8 million views. That lets you know that people, their interests are around Mike Tyson. And Mike looks good though, man. I mean, even he's only a couple weeks of training in, right? 2.5 weeks of training, and he looks great. And people are reacting to that, and people are starting to wake up like, whoa, maybe Tyson has a shot based on what we know about him, based on how he looks now, based on where the heavyweight division is right now. And like Joe Rogan said, it'll take a hell of a person or a hell of a fighter to keep him off of you. Because the fighting style of Mike Tyson is to come forward, side to side, peekaboo defense, okay? And a lot of people don't know Floyd Patterson, another one of Cuss's prodigies. He was a guy that did the peekaboo style as well. But he did it in a different way. Mike goes side to side where, Floyd Patterson kind of does a dip, like kind of a Jersey Joe Walcott like impression, but it's still the peekaboo style, and his style is to attack, come forward, give you lateral movement side to side, and viciously attack you. And it's hard for someone like that, especially a person that goes side to side, you know, especially when you're trying to throw straight punches. You're trying to throw straight punches at Mike. It's going to be very difficult because he's already accustomed to being the smaller guy, the shorter guy. So he had to be the most elusive. He's quick. But then what makes him dangerous is he's powerful. But also what makes him dangerous is he can take punches. Look at his neck. Right? So it looks good, man. It looks good. He looks good. You guys tell me what you think about Joe Rogan's comments and reaction. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys can Counterpunch. Peace.